Gravitas, co-presented by Skoda. Kushaq, choose what really matters.
Meanwhile, the crisis in Afghanistan has put the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on the hot seat in the U.S. Congress. America's diplomat-in-chief or foreign minister is facing some tough questions by lawmakers from both parties. He's testifying before the House Foreign Affairs Committee. This is about America's messy withdrawal from Afghanistan. The hearing began on Monday. It should conclude by the end of Tuesday. On day one, Blinken faced a barrage of questions, some of which left him tongue-tied. For instance, he was asked about the withdrawal. Here's what he said.
Did we have a plan to get Americans from all over Afghanistan to Kabul and out in an orderly way? How meticulous was the planning for the Trump administration declared May 1st withdrawal?
Thank you, Congressman. We inherited a deadline. We did not inherit a plan.
You heard that. We inherited a deadline. We did not inherit a plan. Then why did they not come up with a plan? How difficult was that? The deadline set by Donald Trump was the 1st of May 2021. The Biden administration pushed it further to the 31st of August 2021. They had 4 long months to come up with a plan. That is, if we don't count the 8 months they had been in power at that time. 8 months of chalking out a strategy. And yet they botched up. And they're now pinning the blame on their predecessors. To make things worse, Blinken said that the evacuation process from Kabul was, quote-unquote, extraordinary.
The evacuation itself was an extraordinary effort under the most difficult conditions imaginable by our diplomats, by our military, by our intelligence professionals.
The Kabul airport was bombed. Extraordinary indeed. 13 U.S. service members have died. Hundreds of Americans are still stranded. And American weapons are now in the Taliban's hands. What exactly is so extraordinary about this evacuation? And Blinken's answers kept getting bizarre. He was questioned by Ilhan Omar on the drone strike that hit the wrong target and killed civilians, including an Afghan aid worker. She asked him, how does America plan to ensure that drone strikes hit the actual targets? Listen to this exchange.
How can you possibly ensure us that our drone strikes and over-the-horizon capabilities will actually reach their targets?
And I know with regard to the drone strike that you're referring to, that is being looked at very, very, very carefully by others in the administration so that we understand exactly what happened or what didn't happen.
It is being looked at very, very carefully. What about owning up to the mistake? An apology, perhaps? Secretary Blinken offered none of it. The testimony went on. At one point, he was asked about Pakistan, its role in the current crisis. And for once he acknowledged Islamabad's duplicity, he said that America might reassess its relationship with Pakistan in the days to come.
And I think you're very right to point at the role that Pakistan has played throughout the past 20 years and even before. And it is one that has involved hedging its bets constantly about the future of Afghanistan. It's one that's involved harboring members of the Taliban, including the Haqqanis. This is one of the things that we're going to be looking at in the days and weeks ahead, the role that Pakistan has played over the last 20 years, but also the role that we would want to see it play in the coming years.
Even here, Blinken did not take a firm stand. He acknowledged that Pakistan harbors terrorists, but fell short of promising action. Reassessing relationship is an old card. America uses it when it suits them. What about its relationship with India? He was asked whether Washington has reached out to India, as a possible staging area for future operations against terrorists. Blinken said that the U.S. will rely on India for, quote-unquote, over-the-horizons operations and is deeply engaged with India over this.
Say generally, Congressman, we're deeply engaged with India across the board. With regard, though, to any specifics about over-the-horizon capabilities and the plans that we put in place, or will continue to put in place.
Basically, day one of the Blinken testimony revealed that the Biden administration's standing has taken a serious hit due to its botch up in Afghanistan. If you needed any more proof, Then take a look at these images on your screen. This is Antony Blinken attending the second day of the testimony in person after he was slammed by lawmakers for answering questions from his office. They've now forced him to come to Capitol Hill and take questions face to face. The testimony is still underway. We'll keep you updated. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.
Gravitas, co-presented by Skoda. Kushaq, choose what really matters.